Now let's bring in the condition to the equation. All right, so condition is a non-numeric variable, or more precisely, this is a categorical variable. So even if this condition is represented in numerical terms like 1 for good, 2 for excellent, 3 for mint, it will still be a categorical variable that cannot be used directly. So the fact that this is numeric or non-numeric is immaterial. What is material is that it is a categorical variable. It describes categories. So when a variable describes categories, then what we have to do is to define what are called dummy variables. Okay, number of dummy variables required for a categorical dependent variable with C categories is equal to C minus 1. So if you have 3 categories, then you have to define exactly 2 dummy variables. It is sufficient. You don't need 3. You need only 2 to fully describe the entire data. But you need 2. You can't do it with 1. You don't need 3. You need 2. So if a categorical variable has 5 categories, then you need 4 dummy variables. Okay, so condition or variable condition has 3 categories: excellent, mint, and good. Therefore, we need 2 dummy variables. So how do we define dummy variables? Okay, dummy variable is also called indicator variable because it can only take 2 possible values, 0 or 1. If a particular category is true, then the variable will have a value 1. Otherwise, the value will be 0. So we can define, so remember, there are 3 conditions, 3 categories here, and therefore we need only 2, and it is arbitrary which 2 you want to use. It doesn't really matter. You have to choose 2 out of the 3. It doesn't matter which 2. So let's say we define, so we already have x sub 1 and x sub 2 defined here, right? Square footage and age. So let's define x sub 3 is equal to 1 if condition is excellent. Okay. Otherwise it's 0. So this variable would be 1 whenever the condition is excellent and 0 otherwise. And then we will use x sub 4 equal to 1 if the condition is mint and 0 otherwise. So it so happens that if both of these are 0, then by default the condition will be good. So the third value gets counted with these 2 when both of them are equal to 0. That's the reason why you need 1 less than the number of categories as dummy variables. So the condition good will be represented by both variables set equal to 0. So let's go ahead and set up these dummy variables. So let's do it here. So here I've copied the data the second time here. So let's say condition excellent. Okay. And then the next one is condition mint. So this is x sub 1, x sub 2, this is x sub 3, and that's x sub 4. And we use the if function to set this up. So we go back up here. If it is equal to, so the first one is what? Excellent, right? So we have to set that up as, you have to make sure that there are no typos. If it is excellent, it is 1, otherwise 0. Okay. Of course, for the first one, it's going to be 0 because the first condition is good. Now here, this will be if the condition is equal to mint. Okay. Notice the quotation mark there. Okay. Then equal to 1, otherwise 0. Okay, so since the first value is good, they both are 0. Now copy that. So now we have set up the dummy variables needed for condition. Let's put the, okay. The next step is to run the regression model.